Hi, my name is Danny Reidenbach, and this is my N-Body Project 0 for CS61B. The basis of this project is a simulated solar system in which everything is governed by physical laws of gravitational force, velocity, and acceleration. The simulation itself is run with several command line arguments, the first being the total duration in milliseconds, and the second number is the dt, the time differential that is incremented until reaching the first number, the total time. The final piece of text is the file path to the respective text file that defines the universe that is to be modeled. So I will bring up the original project before I get into what I added. So as you can see, all the bodies started out in their initial positions, and due to the update function that calculates the new position, velocity, and acceleration after every time segment dt, the simulation is allowed to occur. So as you can see, as the time continues, each body is then moved along in its corresponding path, which is defined by their respective position, velocity, and acceleration, which are all governed by this update function. So now for what I added to the project. I added a spaceship that can be controlled using arrow keys that is subject to the gravitational forces of the given solar system. For every key pressed, the position is changed and the velocity component in the respective direction is increased in order for a ship of significant smaller mass to be able to outmaneuver the orbiting planets. When you press the space bar, some acorns are shot from the ship as well. They take on a slightly faster velocity than the ship itself, but maintain the direction of the ship's net velocity vector. And when you hold the space bar, a steady stream of acorns can be seen mimicking the velocity vector as the ship flies in the orbit around the sun. And as you can see, when the program ends or when time runs out, the data of the positions and the velocities and the masses can be seen in this text file like structure, and that is the same both in the original and in my edition. So now so as you can see, we have now a ship in the same system that I showed you in the original before, and I'm only pressing every time you see the ship move like in a single direction. That's me pressing with the arrow keys, but as you can see, it also still interacts with the body around it and does also orbit. So I can create different orbits based on changing the velocity, because every time you change your position, you're also increasing the velocity in that direction. So you can create pretty interesting orbits that aren't just circular as you see the other planets doing. So now when you press spacebar, you can see that some acorns are being shot out and they follow the direction of the ship. And then when you hold the spacebar, you can just imagine the velocity vector going with the ship. So now it's going straight up, and as it rounds this orbit, it follows the ship's motion. So now for the logistics and how I actually created the ship and allowed it to be able to move. I used part of the standard draw library we were already using, but took advantage of their key functions in order to map key bindings to changes in ship's position and velocity. I used a body array list in order to have live updates of the different acorn streams in the universe and update their velocities and positions just like other bodies as the universe progressed through time. So every time the spacebar is pressed in the time interval, another acorn is added to the array list, and then this list is then iterated through, and each acorn is then updated through a call from this key update function that I introduced earlier. And then as you can see, once time is up, basically the simulation pauses and all the data can be seen. So I will just display the ship in one other universe. So now for this universe, there's obviously a lot more bodies that are doing a much different sort of orbital pattern. So as you can see, like before, if I didn't really do anything, the ship would just kind of act like its own planet and just orbit. But now, because there's so many different bodies moving in and out of the standard orbit, the ship takes on a much different orbit than it did before. So same, it does not matter the universe, you can use your arrow keys to navigate. You could try to avoid these different bodies, do whatever you want. The acorns still do the same thing. It's just in this simulation, there is a lot more gravitational forces that the ship interacts with, so it creates a lot more different paths that it can take. So this is my enhancement of the N-body project for CS61B. Thank you for listening.